Hello everyone, welcome to an Elden Ring challenge run known as the Fat Man. I'm going to be using probably one of the worst weapon types in the game, while only being able to fat roll. Why might I do this? Well, I'm on my fourth playthrough and I've done a couple of things already, and wanted to give myself a challenge. I'm just kidding. In reality, my buddy came up with this idea, and I kind of want to give it a try, so we'll see how it goes. The rules are as stands. I can only damage enemies with dagger-type weapons and can only use daggers, meaning I can't use shields, I can't use summons, I can't use throwables that'll deal damage to enemies, I can't use spells. The only things I can use are daggers and throwing knives. They are technically throwable daggers, so there is that. Also, in order to kill anything in the game and deal damage, whether it be an enemy or a lovely sheep in the field, my equip load must be heavy, meaning I need to have 70% of my max equip load equipped on my character so that I fat roll and can't move very fast. Torrent will be allowed for this playthrough, only for traveling, meaning I can't use him in boss fights, can't use him for attacking, which basically means there's one in particular boss that's going to be a little bit of a problem. And I'm looking at you, Fire Giant. I'm looking at you. Alright, now that the rules have been set, monster is made, let's get right into it. That's where that is. Okay, well I'm not allowed to hit anything because this is a playthrough. Why am I doing this? So the playthrough idea is we can only use... Yes, I know this main equipment menu. Nope. Not allowed. Not allowed. We must be fat rolling and only use daggers the entire game. Throwing knives? Alright. But only throwing knives. I can't use throwing bones or crystals, spikes. Throwing knives are alright, because they're technically just like tiny little knives. Daggers are close enough. But yeah, this is gonna be the playthrough. Oh, I'm actually just horrendously terrifying. Wait a minute, let's get a good look at him. Let's get a good look at the Muchler. Oh man, well, he's actually beautiful. Okay. Oh, he looks so sad. He's about to be. Don't fall off the hedge. Okay. So no attacking until I am overweight, basically. So I need to have an equip load of heavy. I can't have medium or light. I need to be fat rolling. That is a crucial rule of this playthrough. Hello. Goodbye. So my plan for this playthrough was to get myself the Reduvia dagger, the parrying dagger, and the black knife dagger for my daggers of choice. Such wide variety of Reduvia dagger because of the bleed buildup and bleed loss will be helpful in the early game, mid, and late game for max health damage. For those bosses that can't be bled, or I'll never ever bleed them, the Black Knife Dagger I think will be perfect with that max health burn and chunk damage it does in the beginning of the fight with its Ash of War. The Parrying Dagger, I'm going to pair it up in my left hand to parry. Because I think that's the only way I'm not gonna take any damage in this playthrough, because otherwise I'm going to get one shot by a lot of people. So yeah, here we are again, old friends. Limgrave, always such a beautiful starting Maria. Hello, Vare. No, I might just kill you outright.
come to them. Of course, I'm for without gun. You are fake.
I can't use that, man. I'm sorry for disturbing your slumber. Please. Ah! Leave me alone! Just gonna kill everyone. Pele. I've come to see your wares.
And I can also let you're not. Then wine I am Carlin.
Okay, so I need about 4,500 runes. How am I gonna get that?
Goodbye for now.
Is that heavier than my armor? I don't even know if it is. It is. Barely heavier than my armor. Oh man, this is not gonna be easy.
What is it? Goodbye for now.
Okay, well I guess first things first, we run around trying to find armor. The first challenge of this run was finding armor that would make me fat roll. This was difficult for a number of reasons, being that most early game armor that you can find or pick up doesn't weigh that much to put me over that 70% threshold. So I decided to try and find a way to get runes and buy the chainmail armor from Kale, the merchant there. This proved another issue of not being able to farm enemies for runes because I can't kill anyone, thus not being able to frat roll. So I had to try and scrape whatever runes I could get by destroying skulls, collecting craftable parts, anything really that would get me runes. Which led me into this dark cave, which has a rune 4 in it. However, I forgot that the rune 4 is in the boss room. And to top it all off, this random stuff happened right afterwards. It'd be very nice if you could leave me alone till I get what I need. Ow! Stop! I wanna unga bunga all of them. Leave me alone. After leaving the cave, I decided to head towards the small encampment close by to try and gather some more runes. After grabbing the City of Grace, I ran through collecting what I could and trying to dodge all the enemy attacks. And open some chests to get some weapons to sell. After this, I had a brief talk with Melina. She wanted to offer me an accord, I think, something like that. After that, I went to go visit my good old friend Bach, everyone's favorite Bach.
Oi! You there! Could you help us out, please? You?
So,
Thank you for your 10 mushrooms. That's 100. That's 100 runes. Yes. Thank you, Bach. Yeah, your kindness to this poor bastard will never be forgotten. Let's get some runes. After having a lovely chat with our good friend Bach, I made my way to some graves, taking as many runes as I could from them. They weren't going to need it anyways. Afterwards, returning to K-Lady, I see some blue lady sitting there, wanting to talk about Torrent, I believe. Something about him being a good boy. I didn't really pay attention too much. Afterwards, buying what I could from Kayleigh, suddenly realizing that the chainmail armor was not going to be heavy enough to make us fat roll. Which was a problem, because I don't know anywhere else to get armor in the Limgrave. Thus, I decided to hastily make my way to Caelid for a certain helmet. Setting on my way to Caelid, I passed an artisan's shack, and they had a lovely painting there. So I took it, because I don't think anyone's been living there for a while. It's kind of run down. Afterwards, I went and grabbed some runes from some local graveyards, and which is the only way I can get runes at the moment, so I'm going to be doing that a lot this playthrough. Afterwards, I tried to climb this cliff. Did not go so well. I miserably failed and fell to my death. Afterwards, I decided to go visit the Great Kenneth Height, Everyone knows good old Kenneth. He talking about how some knight took his fort or whatever, and I'll deal with that later. But now I had to go grab the wondrous mixed flask and some sacred tears from the Church of Marika. And right behind, I was going to take a little shortcut, turned out not be a little shortcut, to Kaled, visiting Garank quickly and running past a bunch of bosses. After this, I casually made my through Kaled, enjoying all the sights of the rotting disease known as scarlet rot, grabbing a big gold greatsword here and there, as I slowly make my way to the crypt that I'm trying to get to for where this helmet is at. This helmet should put me in that heavy equip load range, but I guess we shall see when I get it. Hey. Sadly dying to these gargoyles, I got back up and traversed through this hellish pit of scarlet rot infested crypt, making my way through, grabbing any little item I can to sell or use, as I made my way to try and find that helmet. Eventually finding it, which was wonderful, and hopefully it was going to be the exact piece I needed to be able to fat roll. Sadly, something truly heartbreaking happened. I did not realize that this helmet increases your endurance by 2, thus increasing your equip load, making us not fat roll. Luckily, we did have that greatsword we picked up along the way, so that this whole thing wasn't a complete waste of time. Equipping that in my backhand so that I would not use it, or use it as a weapon at all, made us fat roll, which was wonderful, which means we can now start killing things. And our first person to be killed and acquire an item from is going to be Bloodfinger with the Reduvia dagger. So that we acquire the Reduvia dagger, our very first weapon of choice for the run. Now during this fight, I did let Yura the Bloody Finger Hunter deal most of the damage, as this guy scares the crap out of me with his bleed build up, and I had a measly little dagger that didn't do anything to him. So Yura did most of the damage. I did what I could as we ganked his ass to oblivion. Now that I had the Reduvia dagger, it was time to go visit everyone's favorite person, Patches. Now, we went to go visit him in his little underdwelling cave to get his shop set up so that we could get the parrying dagger from him. And in order to do that, we had to first remove all of his minions, his underlings, you might say, collect anything we could in the cave, obviously to sell for runes, because runes will be difficult this run, and go visit his, I guess, hideout area, where you end up fighting him. Beat him, but don't kill him. We beat him, but we don't kill him. We let him beg for his life, spare his life, and then let him shut up shop as we leave, and go do other things until he's ready. After leaving Patches' cave, I decided to go back to that encampment and farm up some runes, because you're probably going to need it to buy some more armor, better armor for getting prepared for Margit, the Omen, the very first boss of our run. Now, after farming up at this camp a little bit, I decided to go free everyone's favorite jar, Alexander, the warrior jar. I was a little scared I wasn't going to be able to free him, because using a dagger to try and free him was not easy. I took an extra couple of fully charged hits to get him out, but thankfully we got him free. Now after that, I remembered of a certain enemy that drops a really nice heavy helmet that would help us fat roll without having to carry that great sword, and that is the Mad Pumpkinhead. After killing him, we decided to make our way to the Turtle Talisman, which will help our stamina recharge rate, which will be very helpful because fat rolling, your stamina does not recharge that fast in the slightest. On our way there, we got interrupted by Melina, wanting to bring us to the Round Table Hold to meet the gang. After meeting the gang, we quickly checked the twin maiden husks, the merchants in the Round Table hold, to see if they had any luxurious armor for us, which they did, the knight's armor, which we would be eventually working towards before fighting Margit. After catching up with old friends, we decided to return back to that site of grace and get that turtle's talisman. Once we got the turtle's talisman, we decided to rob a few more graves for some runes and go fight the Pumpkinhead boss, which I thought had a 100% drop rate of the Mad Pumpkin Helm, but it did not. So then we afterwards proceeded to try and get the Mad Pumpkinhead by farming the guy on the bridge, which took a lot longer than expected, and it was kind of annoying. And therefore there's this clip with funny music to add on top. After a whole 42 attempts without getting that helmet, I simply gave up and left with my rewardus runes to go buy myself that knight's armor. Am I sad that I didn't get the pumpkin helmet? Absolutely. Am I more sad that I wasted about 30 to 45 minutes of my life trying to get that helmet? Even more so. After buying the knight's armor, I reluctantly went back to kill the Pumpkinhead a couple more times, with no luck. But after that, we went back to Patches' hermit cave to go purchase the parrying dagger from him, which was going to be very helpful for this playthrough. And after that, I was an idiot and accidentally opened his chest, which teleported me into the middle of a bunch of rune bears in Limgrave. It was kind of helpful as I was able to get the map for the eastern part of Limgrave. And while there, I decided to open up the Sophia River, grab a bunch of things that I needed while making my way out of that damned forest. I decided to head south of the forest to go get a site of grace close to Fort Height for the great Kenneth Height to get ready for his side quest. I wasn't going to do it right away as I wanted to first just get that open, grab a golden seed that was there, and get ready to head up towards Stormvale Castle to fight our first boss, Margit. I wanted to do this to mainly see how difficult this run is going to be, and then proceed to grab everything I need and do a bunch of the errand-typed tasks by grabbing golden seeds, tears, and everything before fighting Godric, but that'll be for another time. As I ran past most of those enemies and the giant in that undercavern place, we kill some wolves and head up to this shack close to the castle. There we meet a young lady who's crying over some dead friends. Hopefully she stays safe and alright, but I don't think she's that important otherwise. and we continue onwards, killing a few enemies here, running past others, just trying to get to that castle with a few runes to level up. Probably going to go for 15 vigor just to have some health, to not get one shot hopefully by Margit. Once getting to this big battalion that's guarding the front gate, we failed a couple of times, but eventually got through, killing the ballista man, because screw ballistas, they suck to deal with. We eventually made it inside, killed a couple in there, used the Site of Grace to level up to what we wanted before the boss fight. Getting our dexterity to 14 so we could properly wield the parrying dagger, and our vigor to 15. We were just about ready to fight Margit.